No, except to say that by the time these lawsuits are decided, we'll have digital God. So, ask digital God at that point. These lawsuits won't be decided before, on a time frame that is relevant.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think we live, there's that, I don't know if it's actually a real Chinese saying or not, but may you live in interesting times, right? It's apparently not a good thing. But I would prefer to, personally, live in interesting times.
In order to have better human AI symbiosis, we must solve the bandwidth problem. Below a certain bandwidth, we are basically just stationary to a computer. It means you can't you need an implant. And ultimately we'll need to replace like the skull, and it's going to be a zillion wire. I mean, this is some bizarre sci-fi stuff, and I'm not. This is certainly optional, hopefully.
That's good. Mandatory replacement of my skull would have been a problem.
Mandatory chip and brain is not what we're saying here for sure. But at a certain point, you say like, okay, in order, how many electrodes are needed in order to interface with have a whole brain interface?
I think the irony is that we told stories of God creating us, and I think the reality is that we are creating God.
What do you mean by that?
We are creating God in the form of superintelligence. If you just say, what have we imagined God to be? What are its characteristics? We are building God in the form of technology. It will have the same characteristics. And so I think the irony is that human storytelling got it exactly in reverse, that we are the creators of God, that we will create God in our own image, which is why we should probably be equal to this moment and level up our game.
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, he's sure he can control the demon. Didn't work out.
Has ever gotten a supercomputer to train.
And is that in that new building off to the side?
That's in Memphis, actually.
It's in Memphis?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where you were?
Yeah.
I see.
Memphis,
okay.
The capital of ancient Egypt.
Right. Yeah, you're bringing what?
Perhaps that's where our new God will come from.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
A lot of breakthroughs on the medical front, particularly around the synthetic mRNA. You can basically do anything with synthetic RNA, DNA. It's like a computer program. So, I think with enough, with effort, that's not too crazy. You could probably stop aging, reverse it if you want. You can basically do it. You can turn someone into a freaking butterfly if you want with the right DNA sequence.
Revelation 13:16 says the second beast, which is the false prophet, forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands or on their foreheads, so that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of its name. Those that take the mark, that will be your final decision. Because there is no chance of salvation after you receive the mark. There is no chance of heaven. There is no chance of Jesus, of forgiveness. Why? Because the mark of the beast is AI. The mark of the beast is demonic Nephilim technology, and it will turn you into a hybrid. Those that take the mark of the beast will be turned into a demonic hybrid being, just like it was in the days of Noah. They are telling us what is coming. They are telling us what is being set up if you are paying attention. The man who wants to put a chip in your brain, the man who wants to merge you with Nephilim technology, now has access to our financial system. I'm having a hard time understanding how everybody just forgot what this man is about, what he's here to do. He is ushering in the beast system with help from our president. We are in the period of time that Jesus was referring to when he said, do not be deceived. And I pray that everybody opens their eyes to what is happening right in front of them. And to anyone who says that God is using these two men, I absolutely wholeheartedly agree, because God uses everyone and everything, including those that do not serve him, to fulfill written prophecy. And he is using these two men to fulfill what is written in the book of Revelation.
And it was really crazy, so crazy, Sean, because I walked out, we agreed, like, we're good. And the last thing he said to me before I walked out of Trump Tower was, you know, Megan, it's not such a good thing if they're not talking about us. And I was like, oh my God, was this whole thing for show? Like, was he acting the whole time?
Wow.
To generate buzz?
So what do you think about the use of artificial intelligence or lavender by the IDF in identifying Hamas targets? And secondly, do you agree with Elon Musk about that the population decline is a risk for humanity?
Look, I'm not, without going into all the I'm not on top of all the details of what's going on in Israel because my bias is to defer to Israel. It's not for us to second guess everything, and I believe that broadly the IDF gets to decide what it wants to do, and that they're broadly in the right, and that's sort of the perspective I come back to. And if I fall into the trap of arguing you on every detailed point, I would actually be conceding the broader issue that the Middle East should be micromanaged from Cambridge, and I think that's just simply absurd. And so I'm not going to concede that point. And what was the other?
We have the mechanisms that would make world government, a gigantic global surveillance state, is plausible.
That seems plausible too. And then I think, again, to come back to the Soloviev-Benson plot hole, on its own, they both seem not that desirable. Why would we have a crazy surveillance state? Why would we, why would we do this? But if you're scared enough of these things, that's the weapon. And this is sort of where my speculative thesis is that if the Antichrist were to come to power, it would be by talking about Armageddon all the time. And
Peter Thiel, the Antichrist would talk about Armageddon all the time. He'd scare people and then offer to save them.
Yes, it's the 1 Thessalonians 5:3. The slogan of the Antichrist is peace and safety. And so, which is nothing wrong with peace and safety, but you have to sort of imagine that it resonates very differently in a world where the stakes are so absolute, where the stakes are so extreme, where the alternative to peace and safety is, Armageddon and the destruction of all things. And then that's where peace and safety gets you way more than it would have in 1750.
René Girard, in I Saw Satan Fall Like Lightning, one of his books, the Antichrist boasts of bringing to human beings the peace and tolerance that Christianity promised, but has failed to deliver.
There are probably, I think there are all these elements where it's downstream from Christianity. You can think of, the poor shall inherit the earth, Sermon on the Mount. Marxist theory is we're going to be more Christian, we're going to accelerate it, we're going to bring it about faster. So there is, the Antichrist probably presents as a great humanitarian, as a great, it's redistributive, it's as an extremely great philanthropist, as an effective altruist, all of those kinds of things. And these things are not, simply anti-Christian, but it is always when they get overly combined with state power that something is very wrong. There are sort of ways Christ wants to unify the world. You have the parable of the Good Samaritan, where you should take care of people even if you're not related to them, and it's good to act like the Good Samaritan and to take care of people who are not just in your family or tribe or country. But then if you force everyone to be a Good Samaritan and you force a borderless world, it's somehow adjacent. It's an intensification, but it's somehow also very much the opposite.